Last week in Michigan politics, a new plan to dramatically change Grand Rapids' riverfront skyline is one step closer to being built. But not everyone thinks it's a good idea. What city commissioners decided and why this plan has become so controversial for some. Plus, firefighters this week descending on the state capitol, pushing for a bill to put safe staffing on the bargaining table. Why they say the need is now. And keep your distance. What you need to know about a new law now in effect this winter season that could cost your pocketbook if you don't give plows enough room on the road. I'm Josh Alburtus, and this is your 13 on your side rundown. This week, Grand Rapids City Commissioners voted yes on an incentive plan to help fund the Three Towers project set for downtown. This project could change the city's skyline and add more housing to the downtown area. But some have been concerned over what they feel is a very small contribution to affordable housing, and that the public could be giving more to this project than they'd be getting back. 13 on your side's Kiara Patterson leads us off with what happened at the commission meeting where the vote took place.
We've been presented with a project that allocates $600 million in taxpayer dollars, yet only 1% goes towards affordable housing. 1% while we're in the midst of a housing crisis.
On Tuesday, Grand Rapids City Commissioners voted yes on a major project that would add 3 new high-rises to the city's skyline. The commission voted 6-1 to advance the plan, with 3rd Ward Commissioner Kelsey Perdue the only no vote. During public comment, some residents voiced their concerns, saying the plan doesn't fully address affordable housing issues in the city.
I think that is really sad that you guys probably couldn't increase this. I believe that y'all could have put additional funding into affordable housing. We need at least like 34,000 units by like 2029.
The $800 million project would be located on 7 acres at Market and Fulton Avenue on riverfront property. City commissioners voted Tuesday morning on a tax incentives request on the downtown brownfield development where an initial approval was given. Sarah Ranero is the economic development director for the city. She says the plan would include a hotel, housing, and office space.
I think it's going to help provide a more steady revenue stream for the Affordable Housing Fund once those details get figured out. In Grand Rapids, it's the place, one of the fastest places growing in Michigan, and we have a great opportunity to house people at this site.
Currently, the project area is a parking lot where the old Charlie's Crab used to be. The 3 towers would add 671 housing units, along with an $8.5 million contribution to the city's Affordable Housing Fund. Ranero says she hopes the project will add more vibrancy to the city.
It's right along our beautiful riverfront that we're working to activate and connect to the city, as well as the Grand Action 2.0 amphitheater project with the Grand River Greenway. So I think that it's going to be a magnet for talent.
The incentives on the new plan would still require state approval. Project leaders say they're hopeful they'll get that approval early next year, allowing them to start construction in the fall of 2025. And countywide, the Kent County Board of Commissioners also approved John Ball Zoo's 10-year master plan this week. During community forums, the plan was met with pushback from nearby residents surrounding the zoo's new parking lot and surrounding green space. Those concerns turned into an updated master plan. Now, the zoo says it plans to save as many mature trees as possible near the pond during construction. And the zoo needs to reserve a green space at least 375 feet from Valley Avenue. Commissioners passing the plan with these changes 16-3.
I think this is a fair balance of those competing needs. I agree with my colleagues that said we're never going to make everybody happy with this. We do the best we can with what we have to find a balance that we think has integrity.
The zoo's 10-year master plan includes the return of sea lions, an expansion of the African habitat, and a new South American habitat enclosed in a dome, which will allow the zoo to remain open year-round. The city of Muskegon is planning to reevaluate changes to beach parking following feedback from the community. The mayor tells us city commissioners are expected to discuss decreasing the cost for the weekend day pass from $20 to $15 at their work session on Monday and their meeting Tuesday. The mayor also says they will consider a special buy one, get one free promotion for season passes in December. A vote is expected at the December 10th commission meeting. And in Ottawa County, a federal judge has dismissed a lawsuit against Ottawa County by the former county administrator. Per our past reporting, the lawsuit brought by former Administrator John Gibbs claimed he had been terminated without cause, retaliated against by the board, and defamed by board chairman Joe Moss. Gibbs had been seeking a severance payment and monetary damages consistent with his employment agreement and possible lost wages. We're just wrapping up the last election, but the next major cycle is already underway. Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan announced Wednesday that he plans to run for governor in 2026 as an independent. The longtime Democrat, praised by many for revitalizing Detroit post-bankruptcy, says he's offering voters a choice beyond the two-party system. His decision comes as Michigan Democrats face challenges following President-elect Donald Trump's recent victory. The mayor says he believes he can appeal to both parties and govern more effectively as an independent. And at the state capitol this week, Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed a pair of bills into law having to do with the rules around firearms near polling places. The language is now set to make it illegal to open carry a firearm within 100 feet of polling locations, early voting sites, and absentee ballot drop boxes during varying election periods. The new law still allows for concealed pistol carry for those who are legally licensed and does not apply to people legally transporting a firearm in a vehicle or who are on nearby private property with permission. Back in 2020, Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson attempted to place a similar rule, but a judge said it didn't follow the proper procedure, and it was thrown out less than 2 weeks after it was announced. Firefighters and supporters were on the steps of the legislature this week in a last-ditch effort to pass a bill before the end of the year. It's meant to bring safe staffing levels to the bargaining table with their employers. We were in Lansing as supporters rallied.
Today is our day to stand united. It's our day to have our voices heard.
Hundreds of voices, it seemed, as firefighters and their allies gathered at the steps of the state capitol on Tuesday to push for what they believe is an immediate issue.
Firefighter staffing isn't just about our firefighters, it's also about our resident safety. We're out there to protect life and property, and we can't do that without the proper staffing.
These rallygoers pushing for the House to immediately take up a bill currently sitting on the floor that would make minimum staffing levels a topic that employers must discuss if it comes up at the bargaining table with certain public employees, like many firefighters, that can bargain their contracts.
Right now, we can sit down and say we want to talk about staffing, and they can just say, no, we're not talking about staffing. This would make it so that they can't do that.
Back in May, the state's firefighter union president told 13 on Your Side there were about 50 firefighters for every 100,000 people in the state. In many neighboring states, he said at the time, that rate was at least doubled.
This is an easy one. Your right to be secure and be safe and know somebody's there that has your back is basic and essential, and you have a right to fight for it at the bargaining table.
While the bill has since been narrowed, when lawmakers heard testimony last year, some were not on board with the idea in the original bill, saying in part that it would do away with cities' abilities to reduce staffing during economic downturns.
If firefighter safety is the issue, there is a better way. Offer incentives or impose requirements for safe staffing in various circumstances. Tie them to widely recognized standards by accrediting agencies. Also make them incident-specific.
For now, the House adjourned Tuesday without a vote on the bill. Josh Alburtus, 13 on Your Side. A Michigan Republican lawmaker is standing by a statement he made on social media that many are calling out. State Representative Josh Shriver posted on X this week, quote, "Make gay marriage illegal again. This is not remotely controversial nor extreme," end quote. State Attorney General Dana Nessel, the first openly gay person elected to statewide office in Michigan, responded to the post shortly after, saying, quote, "Please explain how dissolving my marriage or that of the hundreds of thousands of other same-sex couples living in America provides a benefit to your constituents or anyone else. You're not interested in helping Michiganders. You want only to hurt those you hate. Shame on you." End quote. Shriver doubled down on that view, calling the Supreme Court ruling that allowed gay marriage, quote, "perverted." Then, just a few days later, he announced that he would be putting forth a resolution to restore what he called traditional marriage in Michigan. Shriver is no stranger to controversy, also having been stripped of his staff and committee assignments in February after reposting an image of a racist ideology that, according to the National Immigration Forum, claims certain immigration policies are meant to lessen the power of the white population. Back in July, Governor Whitmer signed into law a new rule meant to give snowplow drivers enough space on the roads to work safely. And now as the snow falls, it's set to see its first winter season test. Coming up, what you need to know about the new law that could slap you with a fine for driving too closely to plows on the road. With the help of state and federal dollars, Gerald R. Ford International Airport has become a testing ground for new technologies. Backed by both levels of government and a major airline, the airport is becoming a hub for innovation. One technology being tested is FlashBot from Ion Dynamics. This little robot is a mobile EV charger that can be summoned autonomously to charge your vehicle. The robot can also plug into a larger flash hub to provide charging to as many as 12 cars at a time. And while this is one of the flashier pieces of tech being tested, 6 other companies are also trying out new technologies at the airport.
From parking to the guest experience inside with autonomous wheelchairs or things out on the airfield dealing with wildlife mitigation or challenges related to wildlife, new drone technologies, autonomous security deployments. We want to attract innovators, entrepreneurial thinkers, new businesses to the state of Michigan and offer testing sites for them. We think that businesses who test in Michigan may come and stay in Michigan. So we see ourselves as a strategic partner for the state in general.
Gerald R. Ford Airport is in its 6th round of grants for this technology testing program and has already implemented some of the tested technologies. The airport says this is a first-of-its-kind program in the aviation industry. More electric vehicles are hitting the roads, and it could be a challenge for workers to keep up. Now the state of Michigan and 2 schools have partnered to keep their students up to speed with the changing of times.
It took us 3 years, and I know I spent a lot of all-nighters.
Western Michigan University senior Eliza Eaton is part of the team responsible for this, the Sunseeker 23.
I would say more than a full-time job.
An aerospace engineering major, Eaton says part of her passion for the craft came from seeing Western's solar car racing team for the first time as she toured campus.
It's out there to prove the validity of solar technology and greener technologies, battery technology, and it gives the students an opportunity to learn something they wouldn't learn in their classes.
But with constant new technological innovations in fields like automotives and engineering, for students like Eaton, it could be a challenge to keep up with rapidly changing industries.
That's the scary part, right? Because I have no idea what they're going to need to know next year.
While some may feel excited to face new challenges, a new $4.7 million plan involving WMU, Kellogg Community College, and the Michigan Economic Development Corporation is meant to help these local learning hubs keep up to speed and expand their electric vehicle and semiconductor learning programs.
Typically, when you think of our research equipment, a lot of times there's one big piece of equipment. To be able to have that at scale to where I can teach 20 students at the same time in a laboratory is very, very tough. So what we'll be able to do is figure out exactly how I can take that one big piece and actually bring it down into elements that I could teach in a classroom.
The public-private partnership has roughly $700,000 going to Western and about $4 million to KCC.
They came to us and they said, in order for us to do this type of program, in order for us to meet the needs of the employers as they've indicated to us, here's the type of equipment we need, here's the type of support we need for the students to be able to thrive in these programs, here's the type of curriculum we have to develop.
While more may be needed down the road to keep up, This is a plan some say will help those like Eaton become the industry leaders of the future. And according to these groups, students can expect to start seeing these new opportunities to keep up with their passions beginning in 2025. The holiday season is in full swing, so is the work at the U.S. Postal Service. But will mail-in more rural places reach people at the speed it needs to? In a U.S. Senate hearing this week, one Michigan senator seemed doubtful as he pressed the nation's top mail official for answers. The holiday season means packages, and lots of them. But it's not just holiday cheer keeping these workers busy year-round.
Delivering critical mail like prescription drugs, Social Security checks, rent payments, small business packages, and the list goes on.
But will your mail arrive on time? Some fear the post office isn't up to it in Michigan, especially in rural areas like the Upper Peninsula.
My constituents have now reported delays to important mail like insurance claims, rent checks, the list goes on. There have also been delayed prescriptions where extra days certainly matter.
Senator Gary Peters drawing issue with what Postmaster General Louis DeJoy identified as likely being the Postal Service's Local Transportation Optimization Initiative, or LTO. The Postal Service's Office of Inspector General identified the plan as one meant to bring down the number of trips to certain delivery units, a move that could save the Postal Service money.
Whether service, the incidents that you are speaking about consequences were related to that change or not, I cannot comment on, because there are other reasons why service fails or why expectations are not met.
In Michigan, the latest data from the third full week of November showed an on-time rate of just over 87% for first-class mail in the region encompassing the UP and much of West and Mid-Michigan. DeJoy defended his handling of Postal Service aspects Thursday.
From the standpoint of service and cost effectiveness of the labor dollar, I think there is much improvement that we have made and much improvement that we can get to.
Drivers in Michigan will need to keep their distance from snowplows that are clearing roads this winter, or else they could get pulled over. That's because of a bill signed into law by Governor Whitmer in July that is just now becoming relevant because of the weather. The law prohibits drivers from following snowplows more closely than 200 feet while moving or closer than 20 feet when stopped. Drivers who break this law can be pulled over and issued a civil infraction with a fine up to $100. The new law aims to make roads more safe for snowplow drivers and only applies for local and state government-owned snowplows. And that's the rundown for your week in Michigan politics. Be sure to keep up with all the top political stories of the day, both on air and online at 13onyourside.com. We'll see you next week.